Welcome to Business Success Tips, where we can learn how to make more money in less time and have a lot more fun. Speaking of fun, I have Megan Bedford with me. She looks like a lot of fun. And
I am.
so yes, she's from Cam Digital. And Megan, sir, tell me your backstory. Who is Cam Digital? What do they do? And then why should my clients listen to what you have to say?
Yeah, so Camp Digital is out of Minnesota, near the Minneapolis area, and primarily focusing on the home service industry and digital marketing. So everything from website design, pay-per-click, SEO, really anything to do with digital marketing and marketing your online business, if you're a home service business. And where we really differentiate from other companies is we have a capacity management dashboard. And what that does is it actually fills up your 3-day call board. So if you're a contractor, leads are really important, and keeping your techs are really busy is really important. So with the dashboard, what we do is you give us feedback based on how full you are at what your capacity is. And then we run ads to fill what your needs are. So if you're full tomorrow, we won't be running ads. But let's say you need more plumbing calls tomorrow and electrical is full, then we're going to focus primarily on plumbing. So we really take the feedback from the customer based on what your 3-day call board looks like, and we run ads to get you the type of jobs that you need and desire. That makes sense.
So a lot of people ask me, how do you do the ROI on that? What is it cost per call, cost per ad? How do you figure
that? Is a loaded question.
Because everybody goes, and a lot of these men and women I work with, they don't have a budget for cost per call. Let's say I'm going to pick a number. Let's say it costs them $250 a call, right?
Right.
That's crazy. That's a lot of money. I'll go, yeah, but how much you make on the call, right? So
right.
Do you have any kind of numbers for that you work with?
Well, if you don't mind if I back up a little bit on that question. So one is what I find with a lot of home service companies is they'll say like, this isn't working, or this advertising isn't working. And I said, well, how do you know that? And so one of the things that I think that's really important is data. And so are you tracking all of your marketing right now? Are you tracking what's coming in from organic? And are you tracking what's coming in from your LSAs, Google LSAs if you're running it? How about Facebook?
What's an LSA just for clients?
So an LSA is your Google local service ads. And those are when you do a search on Google for a contractor, those are the ads that show up on the top of the search engine.
So the one that says sponsored, then it goes to organic, right?
Well, it says Google guaranteed next to it. That's how you know. So a Google local service company anyone can apply for this as long as you're within the verticals that Google deems okay for it. And a lot of like small rural towns don't offer LSAs. So you'd have to be in the right, area geographically, and then also be doing the right type of service. But with most contractors, you'd be eligible for this. The really cool thing about Google local service ads is it's a pay to play. So you have a budget in there, and anytime you get a lead, if your ad shows up, if you get a lead from Google local service ads, then that lead is charged to you. And typically it's a lot less than paid search, although I've seen it rising. Anything that wasn't deemed a lead, let's say a marketing company called you, you can dispute it and you'll get a refund on that cost. So
what's the difference in cost between the pay per lead and the other? What kind of numbers are you talking about?
Pay per click.
Yeah.
So, if you're in a major metro and you're doing like HVAC, plumbing, electrical, you could be anywhere from like, $50 to $70 a lead on Google LSAs. Now there's a couple really important things you need to focus on. If you do LSAs, you need to make sure you've got really great reviews. You need to make sure you're physically located, probably in the area that you want to service. That'll have a better chance of coming up. But really how Google kind of serves up these ads, it's based on budget, where you're located, how good your reviews are, like so how many you have, and then what your star rating is. And then in addition to that, it's how well you respond to those leads as well that come in. So they can come in through phone calls, they can book right from there, and they can also email you right from there as well. The really tough thing is you're competing against all the big guys. So if you don't have a really strong reputation and a lot of reviews, you're gonna struggle to show up there. If you offer a super niche service, something really specific, you'll have a better chance. But how Google does it is they rotate and they only show 3 companies at a time on the Google
Can
search
you
engine result page.
geofence it? So I just want to work in this neighborhood or this zip code, or is it just like the whole city?
You can. So you can load the zip codes that you want to show up in, but know that you might have a lot of competitors showing up there too.
Okay.
It's certainly not something that I would say. So when I look at advertising and digital marketing, I like to look at 2 funnels. So direct marketing, direct leads. So that's when you have a customer, they have a need, they go to the search engine, they plug in that need, and they're ready to do business with somebody, right? And then there's other things like branding and all other things that you can do to boost your name in the marketplace. I say if you have limited funds, always you want to focus on those demand leads. So that would be paid search, Google local service ads, making sure you have a strong Google business profile. So the way to do this is go do a search for yourself, right? Do plumber, Milwaukee, and if that's where you're located, and see who shows up and why are they showing up. Does that make sense?
Right. Now I have a question. A lot of people I know are going to worry about, well, again, what does this cost per lead? What's it worth it? How do I know that I'm, quote, getting my money's worth, whatever that means, right?
Right. Well, you should be able to do an ROI on every bit of your marketing. You absolutely should. So I have a different tracking line for every marketing that I recommend for somebody. So if they're doing TV, if they're doing Google business profile on their website, organic, pay-per-click, Google local service ads, those should all have a different tracking line associated with it. Okay. And then do most of your customers operate with a CRM like Service Titan or?
Well, some of them will, some of them won't, some use HubSpot. I mean, I'd say half of them do, half of them don't. So I was going to guess.
Okay. So if you have a way of taking that call that came in and attaching it to a completed job, that's where you can see an ROI. And that's the only way that you can make an educated decision on if you're going to keep a certain type of advertising or if you're not. It's really hard to say something didn't work when you don't track it and you don't see the results. So I say track everything, put a tracking line on your marketing on every part of it, and then be able to attach that to a job. If you're in Service Titan, that's really easy, or CRM, super easy. If not, you'd have to take the phone number that called in for that and look up the job, however you track it, and put the dollar figure next to it. And if something, TVs would be one of the few things, and direct mail, because direct mail, people will maybe call off the flyer, but maybe they'll remember your name and search again. TV's similar. Those are hard to put numbers to.
Right.
But when we're talking like digital marketing, very easy to put a number to.
Well, there's always the debate. Do you build brand, which costs money, and it's hard to tell when that, trucks and generic kind of newsletters, that kind of stuff, where you're building the name and the reputation versus you're paying per lead and the guy comes in and you get the job. So do you have how you should split those? Let's say a typical person we work with made us 3 million. And a lot of them don't have marketing budgets. So let's say, what would be, you've got HVAC service contractor, does 3 million a year. What would a reasonable marketing budget be, and how would you determine that? And how would you spend it on brand versus, pay-per-click or stuff that's more trackable?
How new is this company in the marketplace?
I'm going to say they've been in business for 8, 9, 10 years, and they're sort of stuck. They make a living, but they've tried a bunch of different marketing stuff. They tried house, they tried a bunch of paper, different, everybody does this stuff, right? And they haven't really succeeded. And so they're a little bit skeptical, right? Sure. They go, Well, my best budget is I do a great job at answering the phone, right? But it doesn't give me all the work I need. So they have to experiment with things. They tend to try this and try that, and then this doesn't work and that doesn't work. And they don't even know how long they should try it a year, should they try it 6 months. And they don't really know what they don't know in marketing, if you know what I mean by that.
Yes.
So how would you advise somebody like that?
So we just came off a really busy time in home services, right? With COVID, like people were,
Right.
everyone was busy, and now we're having a retraction a little bit, and people are feeling the lack of leads. Some are that aren't staying steady on growth and kind of the process. So the first step I would take, because this is 3 components. The first step I would take is I would go search yourself. Go search plumber, wherever you're located, or whatever business you do. Search the keyword on Google and see if you even show up anywhere.
Okay.
So that's the first thing I would do. Because if you don't show up, you're not getting any leads. And you brought up branding. You can do all the branding you want, but if you don't show up when someone's searching, you're not going to get the lead, right?
Right.
So you have to show up. And what are the, a Google business profile, which hopefully everybody has one. That's where the reviews show up next to your name. That is free. And that is something that you should create right away. And then, Google LSAs and pay-per-click and organic are kind of the next 3 ways to show up on the search engine results page on Google. So organic is a long-term play that's focusing on your website ranking when people search. So there's 2 reasons why your site is not going to rank well. One is how it's organized. One of the bigger mistakes I see companies make is they'll lump everything together. So let's say they're a plumber and they do residential and commercial service, and you go to their website and it's all on one page. That's never going to let you show up. So Google's a search engine. And when you do a search, or your customers do, Google's going to deliver the results that show the clearest path to that search. So if you do a search for plumber, plumbing repair, or toilet repair Nashville, and you have a page on your site about toilet repair, and you're telling Google exactly what that page is about with content, you're going to probably have a likelihood of being delivered on the search engine results page. So that's one. The biggest mistake I see is how the site is actually organized and the content on the site. Another reason you're not going to show up on the search engine results page when somebody goes there is, do you have on-page SEO? And that's going to be a big word for a lot of people. They're going to be like, what is that? That is making sure that Google knows what each page is about. So I'm going to give you a couple buzzwords. That's title tags, meta descriptions. Those are really important to ranking. So if you have someone helping with SEO, or you want to talk to someone, that would be something to mention. So the first thing is, do you show up? Do you have a paid search strategy and an organic strategy? And again, paid search is your insurance policy. It's a way to show up with all the keywords that people are searching for in the areas you want. Whereas organic's kind of that long-term strategy to show up organically, a much lower cost per lead. Then 2, let's say you're showing up great, but you're still not getting leads.
That's one question of SEO.
Yeah.
SEO is sort of considered the black art. And so we're saying, it's like Google keeps changing the rules all the time, right? So there isn't like, I've done ACE SEO for 2024, I'm done. Like it's gonna be the same all year. Isn't it true that Google, like occasionally, especially with AI, tends to change things around a little bit?
Well, there's algorithm updates all the time. And so when Google does a big update, they're putting certain emphasis on different things every year when they update. So right now, videos are really hot. But yeah, it does change all the time. And so if you're going to put a budget together for organic, which I recommend, you need to have a strategy and have someone in your corner that knows about those updates and what's important to rank for.
Okay. So you have to adjust it a lot.
Well, it's an ongoing process. It's not like you do everything and it's done, right? It's a slow,
Right.
methodical process over time. But you talk to any really good company, successful company in home services that have been on a really good SEO strategy for years, what you're going to find is when they look at the ROI for SEO, they're down to like $30 to $40 cost per lead compared to paid search, which is, 100 to 150, and then LSAs, maybe 60 to 70. The really cool thing about organic is once you start ranking really well, you should be able to keep that up with your ongoing strategy. It just, now, if you're in a rural market, it's really easy to show up. If you're in a really competitive market, it's hard. You're competing against a lot of
Right.
people.
Okay. Then you had 2 and 3. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, that was a really good question. So 2, when you go to your website, so here's the kicker. You do all this work to show up on Google, and then your customers go to your website and they never call you because you're not answering questions. So I ask you to go to your website and ask yourself, would I pick up the phone and call myself if I was looking for something related to my business? And what you're going to find is the number's hard to find. Mobile devices are super important. So I would say in major metros, home services, 70 to 80% of the traffic is coming through a mobile device versus a desktop. So go on your mobile device and look up your website and see what it looks like on mobile. Is it mobile friendly? Is it easy to click through to a phone number? Are there reviews there? Again, you have to ask yourself, if you go to your website, is it answering questions? Where you serve, are you reliable? Are your reviews showing up? Is your number relevant? Do you have any offers? And then look at some of your competitors' websites and say, why are they probably converting better? What are they,
Well, the
what
bad
are
news
they
is
saying?
if you had a leaky toilet and you went to your phone, that you ended up choosing your competitor over you because it was cooler than you were, right?
Oh man. So that's one. You can do
Okay.
all the work and show up great, but if your website's not, converting well, it's a problem. You're not going to get the calls, right?
Now, what's a normal conversion? There's such a thing of
Yeah, I mean,
what's the conversion?
I would love to see when someone lands on your website converting over 50%, but that's not
Okay.
totally normal.
Okay.
30% is a good benchmark.
Okay.
But I'd like to get higher. I mean, I know some customers are converting at 80%. It just depends kind of where that lead came from and how high quality it is.
Okay.
And then thirdly, this one's totally up to you. What are you doing with that call when you get it? Are you answering the phone? Are your CSRs able to convert it into a book job, or do they have trouble doing that? I've seen companies where like, it's not working, the digital marketing's not working. And then you listen to all of the phone calls, and what you find is on the back end, they were high quality leads. And the CSR, whoever was answering the phone, could not convert it into a book job.
Right.
So it's
I know
a
I was
three.
looking for some
Yeah,
the
go
other
ahead.
day, and I was going through Google, and 2 out of the 3 people did not answer the phone.
Yeah.
And I went,
Yeah.
I'm done, right?
Right. And they just spent, you have a contract, you are a home service business owner, you just spent $150 on a lead and you didn't answer it. I'm sorry. There's no excuse.
Right.
That's tough. That's a tough one to swallow. And another thing is, I will say this, if you don't have good reviews, you're pretty much dead in the water. You can do all the marketing you want, you can do anything, if you don't have a reputation strategy for your business, you're in trouble.
Now, I'm going to ask a lot of guys answer this question. Let's say occasionally you piss somebody off. I mean, welcome to the world,
Of course.
right? And so they decide they're going to trash you. So you've got 10 or 15 good reviews. The last one says they're a horrible person. They didn't do what they say. I'd never use them. Give them 1 star.
Sure.
How do you fix that?
Well, you can't fix it, but look, we live in a society where people are more motivated to write negative things than positive, right? That's just a reality. So one question I have is, do they have a review strategy? Are they constantly asking customers to go onto the review sites and write reviews for them if they've done a good job? You're going to get negative reviews. The best companies do. how do you respond to those reviews is everything. We're all human. We make mistakes. So if I'm looking at a review and I see a really nice owner's response where they're not blaming the customer and pointing the finger back at them and they're being empathetic and compassionate, I'm going to probably still do business with them because people make mistakes. But if you don't respond to her or you blame the customer, I'm not going to pick the phone and call you.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
So those are the three things, right? You were talking about. So,
Well, and then how do you get, the big question is one is you have to show up, right? You have to show up. You can do all the marketing you want, but if you're not, the thing is, I'm a believer in direct mail. I'm a believer in branding. I'm a believer in all kinds of things to get your name, door hangers. But the reality is when someone when they have a leaky faucet or something, a lot of times we're no heat, they are not going to wait for your TV commercial to come on, or they're going to Google and they're typing in what they need. And if you're not showing up, you're guaranteed not to get the call.
Somebody gave me a statistic that 90% of all searches that people look for stuff start on Google. Does that sound accurate to you?
I would think so. Yeah. It doesn't mean that all the branding you do, it plays a factor for sure. Because then they remember, oh, I've seen that ad. I've seen that person out there. It all works together. The times before were so easy. Newspaper yellow pages, super
Right.
easy. Now it's become extremely complicated. And I think where contractors get so frustrated is not only is it expensive, but it's really confusing on where to put your money.
That's true. Well, so let's say somebody wants to be unconfused. How do they get a hold of you? I'm just curious. What's the best way to reach you, Megan? If people, I really like what you say. It made a lot of sense to me. Do you like to do a free discovery call? People want to ask about WordPress.
Sure, absolutely. We're happy to really get on and look at your business strategy. And I take the approach, it's not about Camp Digital. This is about your business and what's best for you.
Okay.
And I'll tell a customer if I think they're doing a great job and you just need these few tips to change things around, I'll tell you that. If I look at kind of your business strategy, your marketing strategy, and think it's a disaster, I'll tell you that too. I'm a pretty honest, straight shooter, but to me, it's not about the agency so much. It's about finding the right fit for you. And do you have the right strategy in place?
So I'm assuming if somebody's going to look for an ad agency, they're going to look on Google, right? Just
yeah.
Right? You're going to go.
I mean, here are my tips though with digital marketing agencies in home services. Work with a company that knows home services. We are a lead generation business. You need leads. Don't go work with your neighbor's marketing company. Don't go work with a local marketing company that works with, retail. Work with a company that focuses on home services. And there's about, 5 to 10 decent ones out there. Okay. That's my first tip. Don't deviate from that. And really, you need a partner in this. You need a partner in this business. That they should be an extension of your business, and somebody that you can work with and make changes. And that's transparent. Transparency is everything. If you don't have access to your Google Analytics, or you can't see your paid search numbers or organic, and everything looks like, you're just totally confused by the numbers, that's an issue. It needs to be clear.
So you should understand where your money is going. Yes. Yeah,
you should. And you should align with a partner that helps you understand that. Camp Digital our website is the best way to find us. There's forms on there. They go directly to me and my team. And we're happy to talk to anybody about what your current strategy is, where you'd like to be, and we'll let you know if we're a fit or maybe somebody else is.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Megan. It was very informative. And I suggest, people listening to this, if you have any questions about digital marketing, or you're not sure about it, or you're not how sure what your budget should be, I'd give Megan a call, because the conversation is certainly worth having. So Megan, thank you very much. I appreciate being on the show.
Thank you.